here. First things first, we're joined by FS1 basketball analyst, the lovely Sarah Kustok. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, great to see you guys.
Appropriately dressed, color-wise, appropriately dressed for the lovely holiday. Happy Valentine's Day.
Two of us are on the Valentine's Road.
Yep. We of course.
I'm going purple today.
Listen, there are a lot of
I love that tie.
A lot of single people in the world, and on behalf of them, I'm not, but I'm wearing the color.
Single people in the world.
That's not.
She
I
circles
meant
herself. It said earlier in the show. Wipes out of town.
Anyway.
Oh, you single people out there wear blue for y'all. You're by yourself. I'm not by myself, but I'm wearing blue for you.
What are you doing?
Not much. Let's talk about the Lakers who enter. I got the don't talk card. They enter the All-Star break in 10th place in the West, 3 games out of the last playoff spot. The young guys aren't improving. The rotation isn't gelling, and as a result, a number of people have speculated, including us at this desk, that Luke Walton's job may be in jeopardy. But according to a report, Walton will definitely finish the season and has the full support of the team's front office. Sarah, bail me here. What do you make of this decision?
I like the decision, and I understand that the narrative since the start of the season is the fact that Luke Walton is not Magic Johnson or Rob Pelinka's guy. So that has always been a topic of discussion when Luke Walton is brought up and the success of this team. It's not Luke Walton's fault that Rajon Rondo got injured, that Lonzo Ball got injured, that LeBron James. I mean, this is a Lakers team that was 4th in the Western Conference before LeBron James got hurt. So when you look at the rotation, when you look at some of the inconsistencies, that's a big part of it. And speaking of the roster, Luke Walton didn't put together this roster. And so there are a variety of things that I understand the argument. I understand you look at that loss against Atlanta, the poor body language, the way in which the team didn't seem to have the right approach going into the All-Star break, as you would expect, and given where they are in the standings. But to me, I think Luke Walton is a guy that you let finish out the season. If you want to make some decisions, reevaluate things after the year. But right now, I like the fact that we'll see what happens, but that they are staying with him.
Sir, I agree with you. I think that they should stay through the season. I just think even if you think that Luke is not a good X's and O's coach, if you think that he's not the right guy to develop the young talent, all those things I'd be like, okay, I'm willing to accept those things. But if I'm not a good coach, how do I put together a game plan for 56 games where LeBron James out 18? Rondo, who I didn't sign him, they signed him, so I got to come up with a game plan. He misses 34 games. Lonzo Ball still developing. He misses another 10 games. Ingram, who's still developing. I need him to develop more than any of the other players. He misses 11 games. So how do I come up with a game plan night in and night out where in the NBA there's not a lot of practice? So how do I come up with something to be able to win games? I believe they've done almost the best that they can do. Now, the optics at the end, that really hurt them. When LeBron was out, how they couldn't close out games. He didn't come up with the style. The younger players not developing. All those things, man, will get you fired in the NBA. With LeBron being there, though, let's put out some patience. Because that's what LeBron said when he signed. It's not about all this year. Okay. Well, it's not about all this year. Let's get through this year. Let's try to be healthy for these last 25 games. And I believe that that would be a fair judge of Luke Walton as a head coach. I give him 1 year with LeBron James, and I don't give him any more than that.
And I also think you look at the fact that this team went through, this is the first time many of these young players are contending for the playoffs, that have expectations of winning, of getting to the postseason, and their names were all on the trading block. You know, when you're going to the trade deadline, I think that was an emotional thing. And I know Magic said, you're professionals, you're men, get ready and turn around. And,
age doesn't make you a man, though.
I think that's easier said than done. They had never been through it before, and I think that takes a toll.
And maybe the little tidbit, too, where not only are they part of the trade, man, their names were released. When they said, man, we're getting ready to clean house to be able to get AD, Nick, you pointed that out all the time, how hard that could be for a young player trying to transition with LeBron James and having your name in the paper, reporters ask you everything. That's a tough transition for a young player. Besides, I just need to grow my game and continue to develop.
It's incredibly difficult. And you know whose #1 job it is to help work them through that? The head coach of the team. And you know whose #1 job it is to make sure that when your best player is out, you at the very least do not lose at home to the Knicks and at home to the Cavs, the head coach of the team. And you know whose job it is the day before the trade deadline when you're playing a Pacers team without its best player to at the very least make sure these guys give them whatever you need to give them to make it clear, hey, This might be your last game with the Lakers. I know you guys are worried about that. Find a way to have your last game with the Lakers be a positive.
I have to give you a little resistance. That's not the coach's job. When you're on the trading block and people have announced your name, it is not the coach's job in the NBA to get you focused every game. It is the general manager and Magic Johnson's job. When you're to that point, you need some help from the front office. So I got to be able to take Luke. That is not Luke's fault.
Here's why I think pre-trade deadline, I would say it's the coach's job. It is very difficult for Pelinka or Magic, who would be the ones trading them away, to come in that room and say, guys, we still love you. Luke has the credibility to say, guys, I'd keep all of you if it was up to me. Let's as long as we're together, let's stay together. But let's just assume for a moment none of this is Luke's fault. That Luke is actually an average or above average coach, that it's the injuries, it's the roster construction, all of it. I would go back to last year. What was the single biggest thing the Cavs acquired at the trade deadline? It was not George Hill, was not Rodney Hood, it wasn't Jordan Clarkson. It was a re-engaged, reinvigorated LeBron James. And you didn't make any moves at the deadline, and if sometimes there's got to be a casualty. And I don't think Luke Walton is such an asset that you can't risk him being the casualty if what it gets you is playoff LeBron 6 weeks early.
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
what they need.
Even though it might get LeBron, it's not going to get those younger players. Like, how many people in the organization can they really trust? You said, okay, Rob Pelinka's trying to trade him. Magic Johnson's trying to trade him. You said that. Okay, so now you're getting ready to fire the guy who was in there telling him, hey, man, I wish I could keep you guys. Who do they trust? Man, those first 3 years in your career professionally, man, are tough. Like, my age might be 21, but man, inside, I'm like 17. I've been playing AAU basketball. I played 1 year of college, if that, and I'm not ready for this professional life. They turned this organization over to LeBron James. So, man, what these young players are going through, it's real. And you can see they're not at their best. They're not developing. Outside of Kuz, they are not developing at the type of rate that you would want young players. And to me, that's the biggest indictment against Luke. The younger players aren't developing.
Well, and I also think there's been no real backing of Luke Walton. So for these younger players, they're wondering, do I really need to respect you in the same type of way? Do I really need to take everything that you say, with the same amount of engagement? Because they know that Magic and Pelinka may not be sold on Luke Walton. So I think it goes two ways in terms of Walton giving them the same type of encouragement, the love, all of that. But I also think it's the flip side of things. Of they don't know if they're going to be here next year. They also don't know if Luke's going to be here.
Yeah, if you go in that locker room and tell them, you know something, the front office wants to trade you, but I want to keep you. You know what you tell that young player? Man, I ain't got no say around here. So you talking about losing them. That right there could be the fatal thing to be able to lose them. Oh, man, I want to keep you and everything. They don't think highly of you. I think highly of you, but I ain't got no say. So be careful in Luke Walton. This is Pelinka and Magic Johnson. They need to have some responsibility in this.
All right, got to take a break. Sarah, we'll see you a little bit later on in the show. Coming up, is Lamar Jackson the answer in Baltimore? That's next on First Things First.
Yes.
Jenna, did you say Chris Canty was your favorite Valentine's Day?
No, I said he was